Good morning, everybody out there in Math Land. Today we are starting for third grade a new chapter, chapter 13, on identifying sides and angles of quadrilaterals. So this whole thing will be about geometry here in chapter 13. So shapes, angles, lines, we'll be talking about those kinds of things. Today we're going to be talking about what angles are, vertices are. We're going to talk about polygons. So all of that is going to happen today. All right, we're going to actually go ahead and skip over to the second page. This is page 602. Here we go. So the first thing we got to talk about is what a polygon is and what a quadrilateral is. A polygon is a closed two-dimensional shape with 3 or more sides. Now, when we say poly means many, and gon refers to sides. So literally the word polygon is many sides. That's what it means. Now, when we say two-dimensional shape, it means that this is not like a cube or a sphere. This is not something that also has depth. It only has length and width, okay? And then it has to have 3 or more sides, because if you have a shape that only has 2 sides, it's not going to be able to close. And a polygon has to be able to close. So this right here, this is a square. We know that. We've known about that for a while. Each of these little lines, these are called sides. So this particular shape has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. This particular polygon has 1, 2, 3 sides. This particular polygon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So this has 4, this has 3, this has 6. So, of course, we know that these shapes have a more specific name. This would be a square, this would be a triangle. And a 6-sided shape, we call that a hexagon. Hexa means 6, so it literally means 6 sides, since gon means side. Okay, so these are all polygons. They're closed. There's no openings in any corner. All the sides are straight, because a polygon, something that didn't say that, a polygon cannot have any curves. Everything has to be a straight side. So now, once we know what a polygon is, a more specific polygon is a quadrilateral. A quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a square or a rectangle. There's many other shapes that have 4 sides as well. Quadrilaterals also have 4 vertices and 4 angles. Now, a vertex is where the 2 lines or 2 sides meet. That little corner, that's called a vertex. So a quadrilateral is going to have 4 vertices because it has 4 sides, okay? Now, angles are the openings in between 2 lines. So right here, this is an angle, this is an angle, this is an angle, that's an angle. Over here, these things on the inside, these are angles. So it's the space that exists between those 2 sides, right here, right here, right here, right here. So a quadrilateral is a polygon that has 4 sides, 4 angles, 4 vertices. All right. Now let's talk about things again a little bit more specifically. Quadrilaterals can have parallel sides and right angles. Parallel sides, excuse me, are sides that are always the same distance apart. So in order to explain it to you, parallel means that the 2 sides are like the same distance from each other always. They're always kind of right next to each other. They're never tipped, because if they were tipped, they would eventually cross, right? So parallel sides will never cross because they're always straight lines going in one direction. So for example, right here, these are parallel sides because this line and this line are sitting the same distance away from each other at all times. These right here are parallel sides as well. These lines are never going to touch, and neither are these. So this is one pair of parallel sides, and this is the other pair. A pair is 2, right? So when we talk about a pair is something that comes in 2. Like a pair of shoes. So this is one pair, and this is another pair. So this particular shape has 2 pairs of parallel sides. This one only has 1 pair of parallel sides, because these 2 are at an angle, right? So these will eventually touch if they were to keep going. These are not parallel. The other thing is a right angle. A right angle is the space between these 2 sides that forms a perfect L-shaped corner. You see this little L right here? This is a right angle. Something that they didn't tell you here, you'll learn later in the 4th grade, but I'm going to tell you now, a right angle always measures 90 degrees. Okay, so you are going to see a symbol. Whenever there's like a little red square being formed in a corner, this little thing is the symbol that, oh, I have a right angle here. As you can see, I don't have that symbol inside this shape. This shape doesn't have a right angle. But this particular shape, look at all these little red squares. That means it has 4 of those right angles, okay? They form a perfect L. That is what signifies a right angle. So now here's what you're going to do. We're going to identify, which means name the number of right angles and pairs of parallel sides. Now, when they say pairs, you count the 2 lines as 1. That's 1 pair, like a pair of shoes. So right here, right angles. Let's see. I can make a square corner here and a square corner there. So there's 2 right angles. And how many pairs of parallel sides? This side is parallel to that side. So there's 1 pair. Remember, 2 makes 1 pair. So it's right there. These 2 sides are not parallel because even though this one's straight, this one's at a corner. So that's not going to work, okay? Over here, right angles. All of these are perfect L square corners. So that's 4 right angles. In pairs of parallel sides, there's this one. That's 1 pair. And there's that one. So it's 2 pairs of parallel sides because 2 parallel sides make 1 pair. Like a left foot and a right foot make a pair of shoes. So you need those 2 shoes in order to make 1 pair of shoes. Alrighty, moving on. Identify the number of right angles and pairs of parallel sides. Well, let's see. None of these corners make a square, do they? So there's no right angles here. Parallel sides. Well, this side and this side, even though they look at an angle, they're actually 2 straight lines like this. So these are parallel. So that's 1 pair. And these are also parallel. So that's 2 pairs of parallel sides. You might be tempted to say, well, 4, because there's 4 lines. Well, no, remember, 2 parallel sides make 1 pair. Think of left foot and right foot. Let's see, right angles. Well, not this one. This one's actually a little bit inclined, so it's only that one. There's 1 right angle. In pairs of parallel sides, I don't see any. There's none that are the same distance away from each other, so there's 0 for that one. Okay. We are moving on to our next page. 1 second. Cool. Moving on. We're doing great. So now for our apply and grow practice. We're going to once again identify the number of right angles and pairs of parallel sides. Right angles here, I see around here, pa-pow and pa-pow. I have 2. Parallel sides, I have that one with this one. So 2 lines make 1 pair, so 1 pair of parallel sides. Over here, ooh, I've hit the jackpot. Here's 4 right angles because there's 4 perfect square corners. In parallel sides, I have 1 pair and 2 pairs of parallel sides. Moving right along. Let's see here. Right angles, I see 1, I see 2. Parallel sides, I see this lines right here. And this line's right here. Even though this one's shorter, they don't have to be the same length. They just have to be the same distance away from each other at all times, going straight. So I have 2 pairs. Over here, I don't see anyone, even though this looks pretty close, this would be a square corner. So as you can see, this line is actually a little bit further apart. So nope, no right angles for me here. And for parallel sides, I know it's hard to see, but this line and this line are actually parallel from each other. You see how they are the same distance away from each other at all times? So that's 1 pair of parallel sides. Ooh, a kite. Let's look how this one would work. Right angles. I don't see any right angles here. They're all in this. This looks close, but this would actually be the square corner. So it's actually away from the line that it actually is there. So this is not a square corner. No right angles. And sadly, no pair of parallel sides. So 0. There's another way that you can tell whether the sides are parallel or not. Let's say you think, oh, these 2 look parallel. Okay, well, extend them. That means make them longer. If they eventually cross, like, oops, you see how they would cross right there if they kept going? That means that they're not parallel, okay? Because parallel lines would never cross each other. Over here, let's see right angles. Oh, I do see 1, right there, 1 right angle. And parallel sides, this is a triangle. A triangle, it's practically impossible for it to have parallel sides. So, nope, sorry, 0. Right here it says, your friend says the yellow sides are parallel. Is your friend correct? Well, let's see. Let's extend those lines. So if I were going to make this super long right here, And I was gonna make this line super long. Uh-oh, look at what eventually happens. They cross. So these are no parallel sides. And the explanation is no, because the lines would eventually cross. Would eventually cross. It means that they're not the same distance away from each other forever. And that's what a parallel side is, or parallel line. Let's go to the back. Oh, that's an interesting shape. Almost looks like a plane. It says, use quadrilateral puzzle pattern blocks to complete the puzzle. Number of blocks, description of block. So we don't have those little pattern blocks here right now, but I can show you that this right here would be like a trapezoid. These right here would be two rhombuses. That would be another trapezoid, and a rectangle. That's a possible way that we could do this. Again, pattern blocks, we don't have them. You would need 4 blocks that have, right here, we need 4 blocks that have 0 right angles and 1 pair of parallel sides. So these things, when they have 0 right angles and 1 pair parallel sides, these are trapezoids. Trapezoids are the shape that look like this. Okay, just so you know. So we would need 4 of them in order to make this shape work. All right, and we're gonna look at where we would have put those in another, but I'm just right now identifying these. It says 0 right angles, 2 pairs of parallel sides. You need 3. So if it has 0 right angles and 2 pairs of parallel sides, that's called a rhombus. And it's the one that looks like that. Okay, like this one up here, that's a rhombus. Over here, it says 4 right angles, 2 pairs of parallel sides. So 2 pairs of it and 4 right angles. So if it has 4 right angles and 2 pairs of parallel, they could either be a square or a rectangle, because it has 4 right angles and 2 pairs of parallel sides. So that's how I could make that work inside this shape, okay? I'm not gonna divide it for right now, but I just want you to know what these are called. That way, during your homework, you can figure it out. There might be an opportunity in your homework for you to drag blocks over to a shape. I'm gonna see what that looks like. But this is the end of our lesson. So what I would like for you to do is remember to go through Edutone, which is also called My Portal. You might not see the word Edutone anymore. Now I think it's called My Portal, but it's the same thing. You're gonna log in, you're going to go to your Big Ideas math textbook, and that's where your homework for this lesson will be assigned. Good luck to you. You guys have been doing great. My 3rd grade, I got to brag about you guys a little bit. My 3rd graders, every single assignment for last week was done by every single 3rd grader. You have no missing work at all. So good job to my 3rd graders. So good job. I hope you get through this lesson okay. If you have any questions, please let me know. Email me or message me in the Google Classroom. You have a great day, okay? Bye-bye.